An M system is manual call points only. A P system is protecting property, and an L system is protecting life. And within that, you've got different categories. So that's what we're going to be looking at on the design side.
Welcome back to Talking Fire. Following on our video with regards to documentation and the importance of documentation and what documentation has to be handed over to the end user, I think it's quite important that we break down each category, and we're going to start with design. So I think when we talk about design, the first question, if I was in a situation where I had to design a system, I think the first question I would ask the client is why do you require a fire detection system? So it's either a legal requirement that the fire department wants, it's either an insurance requirement. Alternatively, it could be just be a proactive company that wants to protect their assets and their people. So, I think those are all relevant, as well as categories. So I'm going to pass over to you, Clive, in terms of how to categorize a fire system, what requirements there are, and what the correlation is between the building code and SANS 10139 to determine which category, and to make sure that the end user and that the designer is designing according to what is actually required.
Yeah, all right. So let's go back to the beginning. You were saying that why do you want a fire detection system? So obviously your first step is it a legal requirement? 10400 is your building code. Part T is covering fire, and not only fire detection, but fire in general. So in there you've got fire loading of walls, you've got the size of escape stairs, you've got the size of escape ways, and all that kind of thing. And then within there you've got your detection. So you could have a shopping center would be required as a L1. You could have a guest house. If a guest house is smaller than 5 rooms, you would need you wouldn't need a system. If it's bigger than that, you would need a system. If a building is more than 4 stories high. So that's all prescribed within the 10400. From there, it then refers to 10139, which is the fire detection standard, as we hopefully all know by now. It would then specify that if you are doing let's go with a hotel. A hotel has to have an L1 system. That's detection all over, manual call points within a search range of 45 meters at escape stairwells, and so on. So that's all covered there. The second one is a requirement of the fire department. The fire department is going to go back to, first of all, the building code to tell you that what you need, and then specify what you require there. The third one is insurance requirements. So what we've had with the fires that have been going on, and that the insurance companies obviously want to mitigate their losses. They ultimately in the business to protect your equipment and that, but also to protect their money. So you pay them, they say that you've got a good system and we'll pay you if you have a fire. And then finally, you're going to have your individuals that the guy says, listen, I've paid a lot of money for this little printing press here, and I want to protect it. And then from there, you can then design what you require. You look at your risk, you look at the requirements, and you look at the facilities that you got there, and from there on, you're going to then decide what your design covers, if it's an L1 system, if it's a M system. And hopefully the people that are watching the videos know the difference. And if you don't know the difference, it's available. It's an M system is manual call points only. A P system is protecting property, and an L system is protecting life. And within that, you've got different categories. So that's what we're going to be looking at on the design side.
I think it's also quite important just to make it known that under the design side is the identification of the correct detector for the risk, and to prevent false alarms. I mean, I think it's a standard thing, like everybody knows a heat detector goes into a kitchen because someone can burn toast, someone can burn, and prevent false alarms and that kind of stuff. The use of CO detectors into hostels and into hotels, these things are all relevant, and these fall under the design. And people need to reach out and ask questions, because there's a lot of new technology coming out. The standards are changing, things are becoming different. The industry is, although the fire industry is evolving, maybe not as fast as the rest of the industries, but it is evolving, and I think people need to understand what technology works where, because false alarms cause big problems. False alarms cause people to just pull the mains and disconnect the batteries from their fire alarms.
Yeah, and we've seen that, with false alarms. And there is, in the standard, as we mentioned earlier, there is a limit that they would accept false alarms, but also keep in mind that there's a difference between false alarms and unwanted alarms. So as you were saying, is if you've installed a smoke detector in a kitchen and your wife burns the food regular, then that's an unwanted alarm because it is doing what it's supposed to do. It's picking up smoke. However, it's an unwanted alarm because actually it's doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Yes.
The other thing about selecting the correct equipment for the job. If you've got a big warehouse, it's easier to put in a beam detector than put in 100 point detectors. One of the things that always pops up is video smoke detection. It is covered and it is allowed for in the standard as auxiliary detection. That is still under debate. So at this moment in time, as far as what I know, the video smoke detection is allowed, but then you've got all those parameters that your power supplies have to be within the battery calculations, that it lasts for 24 hours, plus your cabling has to be fire retardant and all that rubbish. So that's a huge other issue that we're going to not look at today. But when you're designing the system, what do you expect it to do? What does the client want? And can you make it work within those parameters?
And you are liable for putting your name and certificate onto that.
This is where we get into that sign-off thing.
The certificate.
If you've signed that design document, that's telling the world that you are competent, that you're taking responsibility for this detection. And it's you that is responsible for that. Yeah.
Once again, I think we have covered in previous videos changes of standards. So there's a lot of information, and we're sharing more information, and we'd love to share more information with people doing designs, assisting with designs, and getting more involved. So,
we don't want to be in these videos that we just chuck in standards and clauses out there. It's more like giving the viewers an idea of what is there, but then ask the questions and speak to people that are deemed to be competent and can assist you in the right direction with what you want.
100%. I hope that clarifies the design side in short. Any further questions, I think you can just contact the FDIA or comment under the video and we'll get back to you.
Comments will be so great because then at least we know if we're going in the right direction.
Yes.